young women have sex with older men like more than people are willing to admit.
Yeah, that's not sleeping with. You don't need anything in common with somebody except for both of legal age to sleep with someone, right? Yeah. But if he was a 43-year-old man and you would be the fifth 19-year-old he's dated, I would have been like, why is he choosing to date only women who are still in their teens?
Hello, America, FBI and CIA agents and fellow cult members. Welcome to Culture Club USA. I'm DiBrava. On today's episode of OnlyFans on Trial, we're going to be reacting to a segment from the Whatever podcast where the subject is, should there be age gaps in modern dating today? Let's dive in.
This guy says he doesn't date women under 30. Let's talk about...
He doesn't date women over 30, I think.
Or what, sorry, I might have missed... He doesn't date women over 30, I think. Yeah, thank you. That's a perfect segue to talk a little bit about age gap relationships. Allie, you happen to be in a bit of an age gap relationship.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'm married. My husband is 51. I'm 28. We started dating when I was 25. And he would have been 48 at the time. I am very happy. I don't think that I could have been with a man my age. I think that they're very effeminate, and I understand that there's plenty of reasons why, like both social and environmental. We've been asking men to man down for a very long time, to kind of just do the things that we want them to, and they like believe these things as if they're attractive and they're not. And I just find that Gen X men have a better grip.
Chico, you gotta scoot like you're not in frame.
I just find that Gen X men have a better grasp on game. You know what I mean? And like something weird must have happened with millennial and Gen Z men.
Brian Atlas cracks me up. Like, was that really important? The girl is like getting into some, sort of deep conversation here. She's setting, he this question, which he just changed the subject from something else, because these podcasts go like 25 hours. And he's like, while she's talking, moving this girl or whatever she is. I don't know. She might be a transsexual. I mean, this is just like, it's a weird one. Look at these characters, actually. Why is it that every single girl that shows up on the Whatever podcast has breasts like this out? All right, so let's get past Brian and his like commotion and see if I can figure out what this woman is saying. Let me bring this back.
You know what I mean? Sure. And like something weird must have happened with millennial and Gen Z men. So First of all, what is he wearing? He looks like he just came off the set of like Grease Lightning or something. Like he's rehearsing for like a local community play. Interesting. Mostly in an age gap. I get a lot of criticism about it, like pretty frequently, but I mean, I'm happy. This is the man for me. And also, like, he's pretty attractive.
Okay, just because I was interrupting a lot. So her and her husband are 23 years apart. She's 28. Her husband is 52 or something. 50. I mean, around 23 years. And she's very happy. She's saying that, she doesn't see anything wrong with the age gap and so on and so forth. Let's see if we can get past the distractions of Brian and see what's going on here.
As well, in my opinion. Like, other women might see him and not think so, but he was fit for his age as well. And I just think that takes more discipline. Like, I don't care about a 20-year-old man who has like a six-pack. You should, you should. But if there's a 48-year-old man that has a six-pack, I'm like, oh, okay, like that took decades to maintain. So that's pretty much my situation. He's having his first kid at 51, like a whole feminist, and it is what it is. But that's my age gap.
That was funny. She said like the whole feminist, because come to New York City, you'll see all these signs and billboards everywhere. I had a baby at 59 years old. What is this, a new normal? I mean, let's be real here. Biology is biology. Every woman has a clock. Okay, it's like nothing means anything anymore. A 70-year-old can have a child now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want me to, yeah. I've been on here about age gaps multiple times now. And your situation, I don't see anything wrong with that. You're 25 years old, sound woman, 48. Now, if it would have been, if you would have said, oh, I was 19 and he was 42, then I would have been like, I would be like, was this...
I can't figure out what this is right here. First of all, look at each and every one of these girls. Why is it that there's always like two to 4 girls on this podcast in particular that have this like dead look on their face. It's like there's like nothing happening. It is the weirdest thing. Where do these women come from? Would you ever see people like this in normal life? I don't. It's like so strange. All right, I don't understand what this is. This is very interesting. I've never seen anybody looking like this on this podcast. I'm wondering if she's a he or she. I mean, who knows what it is.
Then I would have been like, you know, I would be like, was this a relationship you would be in still if you weren't have been 19 at the time? Because I just think a lot of things change in those few years when you are of legal drinking age, and you can have more of those experiences as 19 to 25, 19 to even 23. Those things are a very big difference. So 25 to 48, yeah, I would never even blink twice at that.
Did you hear what she just said of legal drinking age? Like, this is what the world revolves around, drinking. Like, what is being of legal drinking age have to do with this conversation? What, so now you can get into the bars and be a whore and slut yourself around a little for, you know, prior to, you know, getting involved with a man that's a little bit old? Like, do you understand the mentality here? It's absolutely grotesque.
I don't even think there's anything wrong with a 19-year-old necessarily. Like, are you talking about choosing to date or have sex with? Because young women have sex with older men, like, more than people are willing to admit.
Yeah, that's not... Yeah. Sleeping with, you don't need anything in common with somebody except for both of legal age to sleep with someone, right? Yeah.
Right.
My thing was, when I came in here times before, I wouldn't even say, yeah, if you were 19 and he was 43 and it was like, you know, a rare occurrence for him to be dating a 19-year-old, then people meet, shit happens. You could fall in love. There's weirder things happen every day, for sure. But if he was a 43-year-old man and you would be the 5th 19-year-old he's dated, I would have been like, why is he choosing to date only women who are still in their teens? I think that's where flags come, when it becomes a reoccurring thing for older men. Because, yeah, you can meet people younger and it could be an off chance. But, yeah, it is a weird coincidence to me if you are above the age of 40 and you can consistently date people who aren't even of the legal drinking age in our country.
Well, I would say, how dare a man be attracted to a woman who's at the height of her physical attractiveness and fertility?
I didn't say.
I just can't get past what he's wearing. I just can't get past the grease lightning. Okay, but first of all, let's backtrack to her. She does have I'll give her that point. Okay, you know, if you are like a 50-year-old guy and you're constantly dating like 17 or 18, 19-year-olds, I mean, it might be a little strange, you know, over and over and over and over again. I have to give her that. I have to give her that. But then Brian, what he's about to say, what he's saying here is, you know, how dare a man be attracted to a woman in her prime? I mean, got to give it, you know, that's human nature. Actually, if you think about it, way back in the day, women were getting married at like 15, 14 and having babies like when they're 15, 14 years old. Think about it. You start menstruating at an age, it's kind of like a sign like, okay, you're supposed to be getting pregnant at this point. You know what I mean? I mean, you're not really supposed to wait till you're 56 to have a child.
Age in our country.
Well, I would say, how dare a man be attracted to a woman who's at the height of her physical attractiveness and fertility?
I didn't say be attracted to, because she said we already established the dating versus sex. I'm saying dating. A man who chooses to date women who are 18 or 19 only, it does put a red flag in my mind of to why can't he date and be committed to women who have more experience.
It's not that he can't.
Than an 18 or 19.
It's not that he can't. It's just, and I think, I mean, very few men who are in their 40s, I think, are attractive enough, whether that's physically, of finances, or status-wise, to be consistently dating 18-year-old, 19, 20, 21-year-old baddies.
Is he talking about himself right here? Is that Brian talking about how he feels about himself right here?
Attractive enough, whether that's physically, of finances, or status-wise, to be consistently dating 18-year-old, 19, 20, 21-year-old baddies. It's just biology.
We never
it's
said
evolution.
they were baddies either.
I wouldn't even say that.
They don't have to be baddies, but
I wouldn't even say that it's biology, because like attraction doesn't necessarily like work in that particular way. It just doesn't make sense to me how you're okay with an older man sleeping with a younger woman just to get his rocks off versus him being in an actual relationship with her.
I think it's weird too. Yeah, I think it's still weird.
So you think they're both weird?
I think they're both weird, yes, but I think it becomes more of an issue when, yeah, they're like seeking a partner only out of it, because, yeah, you know, if an 18 or 19-year-old woman chooses to sleep with an older man, she's of legal consent of aging. She can do that. He's not, you know, she can make that choice. But when it becomes a relationship, that's how I see manipulation and power dynamics can take play, because a relationship, obviously a lot more goes into it than just hooking up.
But actually, she's wrong here, because women in general, females are, well, maybe not in modern times, because look what we're dealing with, but, you know, in general, girls are more mature than boys, right? Okay. So it really makes sense for a girl to date an older man. Women need providers. We need protectors. Okay. We're supposed to be having children. We're the teachers, the nurturers. Like, what are you going to do with a guy that's exactly your age? Normally they're way behind you in maturity. So does it really make sense? How is, if you're like 19, how is another 19-year-old boy going to support you? Think about it. How? He hasn't even figured out his own way in life yet. It's not how it really is supposed to work. I believe that women should be younger than men. Okay. I'm not saying that we're going to go the, you know, I'm going to date a 90-year-old when you're like, you know, 22. Okay. That's like, you know, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there should be, you know, a significant little gap there, you know, at least 7 years. You really think about it. It makes sense.
Well, I think like a relationship should be more meaningful than sex. Like I just
Exactly.
That this doesn't make sense. Like it's okay for her to give her body away to an older man to use it, but it's not okay for her to give her body away to an older man who takes care of her and wants to be in a relationship with her. Then he has to be manipulative. Like that doesn't. I would argue that there's probably more manipulation to get her in the sack than it is to like have that long-term relationship.
Wow, well said. Let's see what her comeback is here. That's really great point.
It is to like have that long-term relationship.
I see your point totally, but maybe because when I'm thinking about it to get her into the sack, I'm the super chat.
Yeah.
I bet anyone sleeping with multiple men, it becomes second nature to look for multiple men to sleep with. To the guys, you can buy a used car and save money, or choose to marry a used girl/woman and lose 50% or more of your life's earnings in divorce.
Yeah.
Good times. Harmon, thank you, man.
That's what happens when the government gets in marriage, just like your children. You know, when the government gets involved, it all goes wrong usually.
Let's continue with the actually really quick chat. Eric, if you can pull up the pop-out chat really quick. I'm super appreciative of the TTS. It's been slightly distracting, the show. It's coming in. Should I bump?
I don't really care what he has to say about his super chats. Let's get on with it. Okay.
Chat, bump it to...
You don't care where you're bumping your chat.
Continue on with the conversation.
Yeah.
I'll see how it goes, but I may have to bump it.
Okay. I mean, I think that's just a double standard, right? Because obviously I am a public figure to a degree. I wouldn't say like I'm famous or anything like that. But it's like if I was
Very humble girl here. I give it to her.
An older woman and I was married to a younger man, nobody would care, you know? And
I wouldn't say that.
I very much believe that. There's a couple of
That's why
people that might
Cougar
care.
exists, and what's the word for a man who seeks?
How is Cougar a put down? That's not a put down.
I've never seen someone be thrilled to be called a cougar.
Jennifer Lopez. I mean, when she was dating A-Rod's like 10 years younger than her. Everybody thought that was amazing.
Ever. I would be very insulted if somebody ever called me a cougar.
Yeah, well, that's mostly anecdotal. We just have varying experiences. I just don't see that happen often. I see a lot of the times it's like, yes, queen, you go, girl, which like that kind of age gaps present their own individual issues to begin with. But I think we really shame men for finding younger women attractive when it's pretty standard. Like the age that men find women attractive, honestly, so as men get older, they still find the same age group of women attractive.
We already, yeah.
Yeah, but as women get older, we find men in our age group on average between 3 to 7 years older than us. We continue to find them attractive, right? So it's like if I'm 30 and he's 34, I still think he's attractive. If I'm 40 and he's 44, I'll think he's attractive, just like on average. But like with men, they just consistently find young women attractive.
And you don't think that's weird?
No, I don't think it's weird.
normal.
I think it's
What is weird about that? I don't get where she's coming from with that.
Normal,
Normal.
Kiko.
That's
It's
just-
normal, Kiko.
it's biology.
But I do want.
Yeah.
That's what it's the biology. Because like the only thing you've been able to give me usually is fertility, this and that. Okay,
No fertility. It's human nature. It's human nature. Human nature.
well, I don't know any woman that's 30 that like it's your time doesn't tick at 30. That's not.
Yes, it does. Okay, let's be brutally honest here. Of course your time is ticking at 30. I mean, this is like, I'm telling you, it's like in Manhattan. You can get pregnant and have a child at 60, 70 years old. No, you cannot. Maybe there's some anomaly. I mean, but let's be real here. No, it's not normal to be having children in your 50s and 60s or even your 40s. Really? Why do you think girls get their period the age that they get it? 9, 10, 12? Yeah. Because you're supposed to be having children. That's the whole idea of menstruating. We menstruate for a reason. I mean, what? Like, I don't understand how these people just change science. Like,
how it works. Maybe 40, sure, that's when we're getting a little closer. But a 25-year-old woman is not much more fertile than a 30-year-old woman. In those 5 years, that's not what's happening, and that's what's always the evidence being placed in front of me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being attracted to somebody younger or older than you. I'm just saying it is possible for men who are much older,
Use
women.
P word if you're gonna say it. Just use P word.
Even women, I'm saying it's possible. Women, men, I'm just using I'm using men because that's what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very naive to deny that a power dynamic cannot be in place with an older man or woman and somebody younger.
but a power dynamic can be in place with any two people at any age. It's just called a power dynamic. What does it have to do with women in general being attracted to older men? That's how human nature. This is the way the world works. There's a reason for it. I mean, so a man is supposed to be attracted, to a woman that's 40 when she pretty much can no longer really probably have kids that easily. And I mean, no, hello, it's like exhausting with people like her.
That's all I'm saying. So it's the people who consistently seek out somebody that much drastically younger, because even a 25-year-old woman is going to look much younger than a 40-year-old man. Mm-hmm. So like, why does it have to be 18, 19 all the time? Because for me personally, I'm only 23. I don't know everything, of course, but I do
She's 23. My God, I thought she was like 40.
know everything, of course, but I do know I've grown a lot and learned a lot since I was 19, and being around more adults and more of an adult playing field. I didn't become to be around 30-year-olds and things like that until I was 21. So that's the only thing why I'm like, why? I'm not saying even 21. I wouldn't even blink an eye at 21, but it's 18. I'm just saying the men who are 18 to go up to the 18, 19 year olds.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's reasons why, and I could talk about them. Like, there's some biological theories, don't get me wrong, like, about 90% of women's eggs are gone by age 30. It doesn't mean that you can't continue to have children. It just means, like, you're at your last 10% of your reservoir. But then
There's a reason why people like Kim Kardashian, when she was like 30-something, whatever, was injecting herself on the show. And look at her sister. Look what she had to go through to get pregnant again. Hello, this is like just reality. It's facts.
run into hormonal issues probably around like...
Brian the Eating Warrior super chatted $99.99. How do your parents feel about marrying someone closer to their age? I feel like dating that big of an age gap is peak daddy issues.
Oh, like for me? No, I asked my mom. She just said that she didn't think it was going to be... She didn't know that he was going to end up being the man that I married. But I've consistently been attracted to older men. When I was 17, I dated a man that was 24. Our parents knew each other. There wasn't anything weird about it. He was just a kind young man and came from a good family. And that's pretty much how I've always dated. I have dated men that were in my age group, but it's just not something that I consider. I did grow up in a single mother home, but that's not going to stop the fact that, you know, I've just kind of always been this way. Even when I was a kid, right? Like, I thought Brad Pitt was hot. You know what I mean? Like, that's just been my thing.
I still think he's hot.
Yeah, well,
just saying.
I knew it. I knew there was a little destiny in him. It's that grease lightning jacket. No. Is Brian having a midlife crisis? What's going on here?
I think he's hot.
Yeah, well,
just saying.
I think he's kind of hitting like some type of wall. But I think that's just like some girls. I wouldn't say that that's the majority of girls. It's just been how I am. And I think it's because they tend, like, have you seen how a fit 20-year-old dude looks compared to like a fit 35-year-old dude? How like one kind of looks more like a boy and the other one kind of looks more like a man?
Yes.
Yeah, like that's kind of been like my take on it.
And that's exactly my point for, I know it's not everybody, but like I said, I'm only 23.
Yeah.
When I was 18, 19-year-old men or older, looking great. Now that the fact that I'm 23, I would say 95% of men that are 18, 19, 20, around those age, look like little boys.
Exactly. Exactly. If you're 23, why are you even looking at 18, 19, 20-year-old boys? First of all, let's think about this for a minute. Let's go back to like the 1800s, right? Before social media, before all this television and all of this nonsense, right? How do you think people met people? Your families fixed you up with people. So when you turned 12, 13, your parents kind of like fixed you up with a boy that was much older, right? I mean, hello, this is how the world went for centuries. Now we're in modern times and everybody just is delusional. I mean, what is she talking about? She's basically proving her point. The other girl. Yeah, no woman wants to look at somebody 4 years young. You look like it doesn't even make sense because human nature does not work that way. Men should be older.
And I'm bisexual, so even...
Oh, there you go. Okay, bisexual. Okay.
So even from a girl standpoint, yes, some women, I would agree, we mature faster than men, for sure. But if you can't tell from a girl that she's 18 or 19 by her looks, you'll tell when she opens her mouth. Like, we can all guarantee, like, they didn't even have to tell me. And I was like 18, 19 max, all three of them. They look
Shots fired.
No, it's nothing.
Shots
they
fired.
Just look young. I'm not saying they act young or anything. You could just tell.
Yeah.
They even have piercing and all stuff. You could just tell they're young. So to me, as a 23-year-old woman, if I can tell these girls who are only 5 years younger than me literally look like they're straight, fresh out of high school, barely know what the world's going on, how can a 45-year-old woman be like, yeah, that's a peak woman, what I want? Like,
Kiko,
I'm not saying they're not women.
Are you saying they're not attracted to them?
I'm not saying they're not women, but I'm saying they look young.
Shut up. Hold on.
Point blank period.
Hold on.
Women have run through so many men they cannot pair bond. They're insane. Plus, if I'm gonna have a relationship 3+ years before marriage/kids, fertility plays a role in that. You're 23 lol. Hate 19-year-olds pulling D.
Yo, DBE, sorry that we kind of missed a little bit of that. By 30, women have run through many men they cannot pair bond.
This is so silly to me.
No, but that's true.
It's not true, though, because there's women... There could be.
Well,
I'm not going to.
About what she said.
Yes, but I don't know her. I don't know what her age is.
That, like,
Closer.
No. Like, you're still. So she made a statement about pair bonding. I'm saying, like, it's true. You can kind of mess up your ability to pair bond because it comes down to habits, right? So if you're like constantly having, promiscuous sex, it is harder for you to have that habit of staying committed to one man.
Well, I just think that the idea that it would be harder to be in a relationship with someone in their 30s is very silly because in my personal experience dating women in their 30s is a incredible experience because they are more mature, they're more able to have conversations with you, they are more committed to understanding, they know more about themselves. Like, it's been like a win-win-win, dating women who are in their 30s.
Yeah, so like
are all of these women gay? Like the other women? I don't, because first of all, that's like Well, human nature, it's just really, I mean, if you're gay, you're gay, fine, right? I have a lot of gay friends. I have nothing to say about that. But, you know, if we're talking about procreating here, this is nature, all right? We're talking about women and men. There's a big difference between women and women. Like,
okay, there's like 3 things happening at once. She was talking about age gaps. Then you talked about pair bonding. Well, he talked about pair bonding.
I didn't say anything about pair bonding. I just said that the comment was silly.
Oh, okay.
Just
Well,
to be clear.
The comment was about pair bonding, and then it is harder to like stay attracted to a man long term if you do sleep with multiple men. But then you're talking about like your experience.
first of all, nobody's supposed to be sleeping with multiple men. That's why your father, you know, back in the day, I'm talking about way back, you know, 1800s, whatever, right? Early 1900s, would find your husband for you. Because first of all, women are too emotional. They don't really make the best decisions to begin with. So, you know, your family probably knows best. You see how that works? If only we were in that situation today, we wouldn't even have a whatever podcast, would we?
As a woman dating other women.
Sure.
Right? Like, of course, that's going to be different than like a man not wanting to date a woman over 30.
Thank you.
Like, honestly, like, it makes sense why men wouldn't want to date a woman that was over 30, just because, you know, like there's a little bit of resentment that comes along the way when you are in and out of bad relationships. Or, I mean, they don't even have to be bad. They're just failed relationships. I think that there's a little bit of that goes on, but I don't know where you want to take the conversation, because 3 things happened all at the same time.
Yeah, well, since we're kind of primarily talking about age gap, I want to give everyone else an opportunity to weigh in too. Your thoughts on age gap relationships. Let's talk about, maybe Leo could be a good sort of jumping off point.
Age gap. I'm typically attracted to guys a little bit older.
You're 25, correct?
I'm 25.
Okay. And
I've dated a 55-year-old.
Oh.
I've dated a 75-year-old.
Okay,
Nice.
now that's pushing it a bit. All right. Now we're getting into the Playboy Hugh Hefner, you know, back in the day thing. Like, no, you shouldn't be dating a 75-year-old. You know, that's when you're becoming a nurse, a caretaker. It's very different. No.
Yeah.
Did you love any of them?
Oh, fuck. Sorry. It's been on me the whole time. Sorry, guys. Eric went to the bathroom.
Did
No.
you
I'm
love
sorry,
any
guys.
of them?
I scuffed it.
No.
So you just dated them?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to weigh in on the...
Did you love any of them? She says no. So you just dated them. Who dates people that they don't at least think that they may love? I don't understand that. So you're just dating to date? Like, what is the point of that? I mean, I mean, women in general want to fall in love. And first of all, that is the truth, okay? Look at Hollywood. Look at all of these Cinderella stories. Look at Jennifer Lopez. She's made a whole career out of making movies about this. What, we're just going to deny that now? Like, women don't want to fall in love. We're just dating to date. I mean, come on.
I don't think there's anything wrong with older men being attracted to younger women.
Oh.
I mean, from a biology standpoint, it makes sense. I mean, obviously, not all women lose it fertility-wise when they get older, but statistically, it is the older you get, the less eggs
Progressively.
you have.
Progressively.
Yeah. Not to say, I mean, my personal preference, I prefer older men. Just from a maturity standpoint.
You're 21, right?
I'm 21, yeah.
Can you give us kind of an age range of what you prefer?
I usually date like mid to late 30s.
Yeah,
That's
and this is kind of the other thing, Kiko, is why do older men prefer younger women? Well, we also need to ask, why do women prefer older men? Mm-hmm. That's another side of this coin. Mm-hmm. And I think it happens to be the case that men just like younger women and women like older men.
Well, there's a reason for that, though. It's about fertility. Okay, it's like hair, right? If your hair is like gray and crunchy and old, and you're like 70, no offense to anybody, but a man is human nature. Men are attracted to fertile women, right? So youth is a sign of fertility. Beauty is a sign of fertility, which is why there are anomalies like Jennifer Lopez who don't look her age, Okay, have a youthfulness about her. Let's look at Jennifer Lopez's attitude. Okay, now she is a crazy leftist, and I personally am not a fan. But let's just look at her for a second. She has a very bubbly, outgoing personality. She's fun. She's not an old bitter nag like half of these people. I mean, God, half of these girls that are on here that are like 19 years old. I mean, their disposition is like some ran through, married 6 times, 55-year-old old lady with 4 kids. Think about it. Everybody is so miserable and depressed, and can even go all the way to probably look. I mean, what is this? Even what he calls her a co-host. Hello, Madyson. Look at that girl's disposition. It is sad. I feel sorry. I mean, she looks like she just left like a concentration camp and is afraid to talk. I mean, really?
It's because men mature like dirt. They mature slow as hell. So usually we have to reach up. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying.
Okay, she has male issues. This is why she's bisexual. She doesn't know what she is. You're either this or that. Look, I don't believe in bisexuality. You're either gay or you're straight. Okay, there's nothing in between. I don't get that. Don't talk to me about bisexuality. That makes absolutely no sense. That means you are confused and something is wrong with you mentally. Okay? It's like destiny. One minute you're with a woman, next minute you're with a man. I mean, what is that? It's gross.
What you saying?
No, I'm
what you
saying
saying?
this is like this got brought up in the first podcast I got brought up.
This is like
my 5th time on here.
We got some new viewers.
And it's like I just think it's so naive to say. I'm not saying in every instance, in every case that an older man dating a younger woman. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. The detail that you guys keep losing out, from my opinion, is I'm saying men or women who are over the age of 40 who again and again seek out women or men who are the ages of 18 or 19 are weird, are doing it from probably power dynamic standpoints.
Wait a minute. I see what's going on. Okay, so she's either been in a relationship. She's been in multiple relationships. This is my assessment of her. She's been in multiple relationships with much older men and women that were abusive and controlling. Okay? This is why she talks like this. She's 23. She's probably been in God knows how many relationships. I mean, you're already bisexual and all of this stuff, right? She's been in an abusive relationship, at least one. That's why her view is this way. See, this is why you should, this is why men want virgins, okay? This is why men want youth. Because do you see how she presents herself as some old lady that's been ran through? I mean, it's not attractive. Nobody wants that. No man, no woman, no anything. Nobody wants that. They want energy of like, if you're going to be that, a Jennifer Lopez. Your disposition is so like nagging, and it's not fun. Men don't want to be nagged. But that's her problem. She was in an abusive relationship.
Power dynamic standpoints is my point that I'm saying. If it's a man who's 43, he's dated a couple of 18-year-olds, so be it. They crossed his path. But a 43-year-old man who's only dated 18 and 19-year-olds, 50-plus men who's only dated 18 and 19-year-olds, how is he meeting these 18 and 19-year-olds? You just don't come across... You don't just cross paths all the time. That means he is seeking, or she is seeking out that man or woman of that age. And I think it is for a reason beyond just, oh, they're hot.
Well, I think it really just does come down to that they're hot, because like we talked about it, right? Like, what's really the difference between a high schooler and an 18 or 19-year-old psychologically? Not much, So basically, like, she's a sex object to that man. But I mean, I think that we're just very quick to demonize that, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, if it was the inverse, and I know that you're saying that it's different when it's with an older woman or the younger man, but there's, like, some sort of implication, usually, that these folks are groomed. Like, sometimes young women just like the silverback eggplant, you know what I mean? Like, they're just into that. Yeah. And I think that we don't want to admit that, but, like, I've had girlfriends, in college that were seeing older men and just didn't tell their parents and sleeping with them too. They're just attractive. I mean,
I don't think she's saying that that's the rule. I think she just wants you guys to acknowledge that it's a possibility, which obviously it is.
Sure.
But
Anything's a possibility.
Don't say
not the
sure,
question.
because that's the times I was on here beforehand. Every single time, it's no. They're just attracted to each other.
But
they're just attracted to each other.
There are some men and hold on. There are some men and some women who are neacks.
Ew.
What? You're saying the wrong word. That's people who are dead.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He's talking about
I'm
like
saying
these
there
smaller
are
majority.
they exist.
doing that.
They exist.
Ken
Hold on.
Martin super chatted $100. The only social construct is same-age marriages. School and work group common ages together. It does not correlate with biology. Men can procreate into 80s. Women, around 40. The qualities that women look for in men aren't even achieved until well into their 30s.
So
I disagree.
So like
Why do you disagree?
The person I'm with right now, 23, gonna be 24 soon. I couldn't ask any more of them. Do I say that they're like at their peak prime? No, but for a 23, almost 24-year-old man, he is. And he doesn't have to be 30 to be what I want. He's honestly everything I want, and I'm happy to be with him and by his side at the age of 23.
But what are you to him? That's the question. You see, the energy that I get from her, right, is that she's probably never, unless it was like when she was a real tween, and she seems like she's pretty promiscuous. Okay, you're 23, you're already bisexual. I mean, come on. But not to get off point. The energy that she gives is not like a wife type of energy. It's not a motherly wife energy. So if you're not giving that energy to a man, you're not going to get that respect. If you are giving the energy of a hookup or a promiscuous young girl or an OnlyFans contestant on trial, then that is how you will be treated. You will be treated as such. Do you not get that? It's kind of like Jennifer Lopez. She's as trashy as trash gets, right? But somehow she's always got an engagement ring. Like, people always want to, wife her, right? For whatever reasons. This woman is married constantly, engaged constantly. It's the energy she's putting out. You're not putting out the energy that you're trying to get. It's not.
Yeah, I would say that's very normal. That's pretty standard. Like I said, it's 4 to 7 years, but obviously we tend to find our own age groups more attractive. So I think you have a problem with people objectifying each other, is what it sounds like, because women make men out to be success objects. So obviously these young girls that are looking up to these older guys, they're probably not attracted to him for who he is.
And I would say that's wrong too.
And you would say that that's wrong.
But it's not getting brought up here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd be happy to talk about that all day long. You know what I mean? But it's just I understand what you're saying. I don't think that you're making any, spicy or contentious points. The only thing I would say is it doesn't have to necessarily be predatory, because it's equally predatory for these young women to be pursuing these older men if it's not for who they are.
I would agree. There's women definitely out there.
Well, common ground.
More broadcasts later.
There you go.
No, I definitely see what you're saying. You see what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Thank you.
Okay.
Honestly, I'd be suspicious if my daughter wanted to be with a very, very older man. But that's what my husband is for, to stare this man in his eye and be like, "What do you want?"
Exactly. Would it not raise questions to you if there's a way older man who wants something to do with your young girl? You're like, I know this little girl, and I know my husband, who is probably, not for your case, but my husband would have been only 43
my
10 years prior,
still,
and I'm like, what does this 43-year-old have in common with my little 18-year-old baby? That's the standpoint I come from.
$100. Kiko Blaza, stop doing that. What you are talking about in your man is rare. Most, meaning the vast majority of men, are not put together at 23. This isn't conjecture but fact. You admitted this earlier, saying men mature slower.
All right. TMR Radio, thank you there for the $100 super chat. I want to give everyone else an opportunity to come in on this. I think you went a little bit. Do you have any? I don't know if you got to go on your thoughts on kind of age gap or relationships.
I don't have much to say about age gap relationships. I think that power dynamics can be toxic if you have a large age gap, which is not to say they always are.
Okay.
Here we go with the toxic word. Another hive mind liberal.
It's not a comment on anybody's personal relationship. I personally, I tend to date people within 10 years of my own age because I like to meet people based on common interests, which tend to be people closer to my age.
Hold on, the screen's going to get all scuffed here, but we're still going. So what about you? Your thoughts on age gap relationships?
Personally, I like guys like around my own age, but I don't think age gap is like a problem.
Sure.
At all.
You said you're 18. What's the oldest guy that you've dated or hooked up with?
21.
21. Okay, so college guys. What about you?
Well, no, she seems pretty immature for a girl, so that kind of makes sense. So if she's dating someone around her age, I'd say they're probably, it's probably going to work.
Yeah, I mean, age gap is fine, but for me, I'm 18. I can't see myself dating someone 23, even 22. I think I'm just not at that stage of my life yet, and then that person would be, and I would feel out of touch and just not there yet.
So you wouldn't date a senior at UCSB, assuming like you were single?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't even... they're probably getting ready to step in their career, and I barely have a minimum wage job. I just don't feel like we can really connect.
Okay, you mentioned career. I'll come back to that. What about you?
I don't really think age matters. Mostly, I think it when you're trying to find someone who you want to be in a relationship with and who you want to you see yourself spending most of your life with and your time with, it matters more on compatibility and where you guys are at in your life in that moment. But personally, I wouldn't see myself dating I'm 18. I wouldn't see myself dating a 40-year-old. That's just not where I think it's a little weird, but that's from me, from my perspective, I wouldn't. But I am not judging anybody else who would be in a big age gap relationship.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to age gaps with women, I think young women are less willing to entertain relationships with older men, but they might hook up with one. I think that's a big distinction.
They wouldn't want to have a relationship with an older guy, but they would hook up with him?
I think so. I've just talked to enough women, and I went to undergrad myself, and it's they might hook up with one, but it doesn't mean that they would be interested in dating one, because I think these are very, very two different things.
Wow. I mean, first of all, let me just back this up quick, okay? This girl here, it's so interesting to me because how does this girl get on this show? I'm just curious. This one here, this really shy, meek one, her.
It's a step in their career, and I barely have a minimum wage job. I just
there's something deeper going on with her because she's on the Whatever podcast. It's this. She's so shy and reserved, but you're on the Whatever podcast. I don't expect somebody with this demeanor to even show up on this podcast. It's just very interesting. The characters that come on this podcast are so interesting to me. There's definitely a weird, strange diverseness here of women, but they're all the same. They're the same and different at the same time. It's so strange. All right, my thoughts on this. Well, first of all, women have to date older. That's to me, there is just no other way around it. Okay, men are attracted to fertility. That's that. It's human nature. If you are fertile, youthful, a man is going to be attracted to you. He's going to be older, in a position to take care of you. I mean, it's really just, this is what's been going on for centuries and centuries. It's only now when women became so, this hookup culture, it makes no sense. I don't really think any woman wants to just hook up. I really don't. I think a lot of these girls are just, they're lost and they've been hurt. They got with the wrong one, thought it was going to be a fairy tale ending and it didn't turn out that way. And then they just become this. Do you know what I mean? I really feel sorry for a lot of these girls because it's not natural for women to have a high body count or want to hook up, period. Okay. Women, date older. Men, date younger. End of conversation. I like older men. That's that. I'm DiBrava. I hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you on the next round of Only Fans on Trial. See you next time.